If you don't know how to read borehole logs, this video will be for you. I will take you step by step. We're going to look at a typical borehole log and I will explain and show you what it means. So let's start with this example that I typically use in my teaching. So here we have data from a borehole that was drilled many years ago. So first on the top you will see the kind of general information, what kind of track they used. So what was the diameter of the borehole? It was 100 millimeters. Then it was drilled vertically, and then this is the elevation above the sea level, 1.67 meters. Then now you're going to look at here, and we're going to start from the left to the right, and then we'll see like what it's actually written in this borehole. So we can look at the method. So what method they use. If you guys don't know what these symbols means, WT, don't worry because every borehole log comes with the legend. And this is just an example of the legend. I cut it and pasted here so that you can see what it means. So here you see method, and then we're going to look at W, which means washbore, and then T means TC-Bit. So that was the method used to drill this borehole. So let's move to the right. So next, probably the most important thing that we'll see after that, it's water. So this one will show you a groundwater table, so the level at which the water was found. So you see, actually, it's not very common, but here you see two different levels. So they have two different levels because they did measurement at two different dates. You see, first one was on the 21st of January 1993, so it's like very old data. And the other one was on the 28th. So we have here two different levels of groundwater table. And let's move on to the right. Here it talks about samples. So this is very important information because it will tell you if any samples were collected. And you see here at depth of 2 meters, there was one sample collected and says U50, then another sample was collected at this depth. So this is the depth. You see like all these numbers, you start from 0, 1, 2, 3. So it when it goes down inside the ground, we count the meters. So you will see that that sample, it says U50. So U50 means it was an undisturbed sample. Again, if you don't know, just try to find it on the legend. And it says here, it says undisturbed sample of 50 millimeters diameter. So that's the sample that was collected. Probably they use this sample for test. You will see that later on here. There will be tests performed. I'll talk about it a bit later. So now let's move on and see what else you can see here. Graphic log, it's common to use graphic log. It just shows you for different types of soil or rocks. It has different graphic images. So for example, for sand, we use dots like you can see here. For something clay, we typically use, like lines like this one, right? So this one would also come with the legend. If you don't know what it is, you can look it up in the legend. Or another thing to do is that you actually look at the description of the material. So this is where you find what material, soil or rock was found at the different depths, right? So let's look at this one. The first one, it says a silty clay, and then it actually gives a little bit of more description about the color. That's what you can probably find easily. When you do this investigation, you can see also if there is any traces of sand, and then you can also identify how plastic the soil is, right? So you see that this is silty clay. It was the boundary was about from the surface until about 50 centimeters down. So that's where this soil layer was found. And then you see from 50 centimeters to 1 meter, here we have this material, which is the silty clay, medium plasticity, black with some fine medium sand, right? So it's kind of like pretty similar, layer. So if you look at the top silty clay and silty clay, there probably some minor difference. That's why it was distinguished as two different layers. And so on, as you go down, you're going to see more geology, more geological units and description. So, okay, let's move on. Next column, it will be about moisture conditions. So here we typically use just symbols. Here you'll see symbol M, this one it's W, right? Again, if you don't know, don't worry, just see like where we have it's in the legend, it says moisture here. So M means moist and W means wet. So we know that the first 1.5 meters that soil was moist, and then below that it was wet. So next one will be consistency, this column. So it says consistency density index. So here we have more symbols. We have here F, then ST, S, VS, right? So we're going to check the legend again. VS means very soft. So S means, I believe, soft. Yeah, soft, very soft. Then we have F, which is firm. So it kind of tells you what the consistency of that soil was when it was this borehole was drilled through that soil, right? So it's very important information because it gives you in situ characteristics of this material. So after that, you will see there's another column. It says hand penetrometer, and then you will see those numbers here. So PP10, PP15, 25. So PP stands for pocket penetrometer test, and then this test was, I believe, it was performed on the soil on that undisturbed sample that was collected. We see here U50, and then if we draw this line, so this is the point. So at this depth, this test was conducted. Again, this correlates with this sample that was collected, right? So, so this is the kind of numbers you get. Typically, a geologist or engineer will collect the sample, and then if they have a pocket penetrometer, they just press it against the pocket penetrometer. I have a video about pocket penetrometer test. Please watch it if you want to learn more about this type of test. And another information, it's not very common to see this one because sometimes we have a different information that we can put in the borehole logs. This one, it actually tells you about the origin of the soil, which I found very, very helpful because it tells you what material it is, how it was originated, and that correlates really well with the properties. So here we will see topsoil, and you see this topsoil is kind of firm, so which kind of makes sense. But after that, below that, we see alluvium. And what we know from soil mechanics, from geology, alluvium, it's a very soft material, which typically has lots of water. That's why when we look at moisture characteristics, you will see that soil is wet, right? Wet. And then when we look at the strength, because it's very soft clay, we see that the strength is very low. It varies from 10 to 15 to 25 kPa, 15 to 25 kPa. So if I look at this borehole log and then I'm going to look at this part of the cross-section, this geology, I would say that this material, it's a very soft clay. It was originated by river because it's alluvium, and it's very wet, very soft, very wet. So this is going to be a big, big issue with construction, with any engineering design things. So this is the video about borehole logs. I have a few more videos. I'm going to put them in the description about how to read borehole logs. Please watch them. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Bye.